Hey everyone, welcome back to another Godzilla Battleline video, and today I am talking about this Mothra deck that I am loving. I am loving it, loving it, loving it. Two things that I want to mention before we get started. First things first, I didn't come up with the base deck of this list. This was given to me by Pans. I think maybe Scarlet Ghidorah is using something similar as well. Scarlet Ghidorah makes Godzilla Battleline videos as well, so go give them a subscribe. Pans, usually whenever there's an Earth deck on this channel, it's because he recommended it and it's fire. And second, I fight Beast Rex in this video. Beast Rex, the other day, I sent you Takeoff by accident, and I did not mean to send you Takeoff. I meant to send a different sticker. So this is my first YouTuber apology. I didn't mean to send you the Takeoff. But anyway, we get into the game. So the deck. I didn't really think about, what I would talk about specifically in the video regarding the deck, but I think I'm just going to break it down the way that I normally am playing it. So obviously I have G89 as a leader, Pans, and I believe Scarlet Ghidorah are using Mothra as a leader. My Mothra Imago is probably level 22 or 23 at this point, but I don't generally like using her as a leader. I think she has not a ton of health. And this deck will benefit from her leader ability. Of course, the only one on here that wouldn't would be the Mothra 2019. But I like having the Godzilla 89 as my leader because I have the silver skin for it. It's level 40, so he's like 10,000 health. And I like his ability because his ability is going to boost pretty much everyone on this. Not everyone, actually. Half. What? It's going to boost Mothra. It's going to boost the 10th or the 4th Angel, and it's going to boost Earth. So you can really take your pick with the leader. The leader isn't super important. Mothra leader is really popular with this deck because you're going to get crazy heals on Earth and the 10th Angel. You're also going to heal up Biollante and Kumo Augment. But Earth is mainly what you want to keep alive. The whole crux of this deck is Earth. Is getting Earth onto the board, keeping him up, and making sure that your enemy is focused on attacking Godzilla Earth. We have the 4th Angel in here as well. Basically, for defense, we don't have a ton of anti-air in this deck. Our anti-air consists of just Earth, which attacks every 5 seconds, Mothra, which attacks every 3.2, and then Kumo, that attacks every 4. So we have all of our anti-air is really, really slow, but the anti-air that we have is pretty potent. Earth is crazy with the piercing and the damage, and Mothra with her range and the slow, and she gives that stun resistance, you're in a very, very good spot to just tank a ton of damage. That's why people like using Mothra Leader, is to heal them up, because, you're not doing a ton of, your DPS isn't crazy, but the damage that you do is big. You could swap out the, what is it called? The Dimension Tide for Psychic Chorus if you wanted to as well. I tried running that. I'm finding a lot of success with the Dimension Tide, just for 4 energy, really quick, easy way to get some, Kamakris out of the way, pull things into Earth, pull things into the 4th Angel, pull things into Biollante, so just really solid overall in that regard. You see I could do it right here, I pull everything over to Earth. You have to commit with this deck a lot of energy pretty much to one side. It's, where am I going to drop Earth, left or right side of the field, and then around Earth is pretty much where I decide to play everything else. Mothra is really great in this deck. Her range is really, really solid. I believe that her range is, maybe it's a little bit more than Ultima's range. I think it's maybe the same or a little bit more than Ultima. I don't know. I think it might be a little bit more. It's not Super X range, but I think maybe she's somewhere in between Ultima and Super X, or just right above Ultima. But her range is really, really good, and that slow is really important. Right now, when this video goes live, she is rentable with the increased levels. That's why mine is level 15. This deck, I don't know if I'm going to be carrying this deck into the next season, because my Mothra right now is level 4. I just have been really lucky with my boxes. I got her to level 4. I don't know if this deck is going to hold up, because Mothra is a super important piece in this deck. Making sure things are slowed and staying away from your team and your build-up is very important. It's very, very strong for this deck, because what I like to do is I like to place Earth, and then I place Mothra. Mothra will be able to keep enemy units away from you with her slow, and by the time they get close enough to you with the Mothra, you've put on enough damage on them that Earth is pretty much going to one-tap whatever that Mothra was previously attacking. She's going to at least hold one character back. so that Earth can make his way up into the battlefield. Your 4th Angel can make their way up. Their Kumo can make their way up. Mothra is really good at delaying. She's also surprisingly incredibly beefy. Mothra 2019, I think, is my favorite character from this patch. People are using Ghidorah 2019 in this deck instead of Mothra. I think that's totally viable. You want just a super expensive, super like health heavy deck. Ghidorah is great, but what I am getting the most mileage out of with Mothra in this deck is her energy. Okay? Earth is expensive. Earth is expensive. And if Mothra goes down, I get that 2 extra energy. I could put up another Earth if he's in my waiting room, right? And he goes down, and if a big push of mine goes down, and Earth goes down, and then Mothra goes down, I'll have the energy most likely to put Earth back up on the field. I'll have that 2 energy with Mothra. I could put up Biollante, right? I can use it to put up Kumo Augment. All really good cards all around. I'm really enjoying this deck. You can see kind of how I've been playing it on the screen. I'm just trying to play super defensively around Earth. Earth is pretty much my only offensive piece on this team. Everything else I'm using to help facilitate Earth getting to where he needs to go and making sure that my enemy is focusing all of their resources on Earth, because not only is my Earth pretty beefy, level 21. Not the highest Earth, pretty high. He also has that Scarlet skin, and people just assume when you have the skin that you're in for a rough time, right? And you're not wrong. But I rarely am doing a push like how you see right now in the middle on the left, where I had everything on the left side and Earth on the right. I rarely am pushing like that. I'm dropping Earth down, and I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that Earth is getting across the board. I'm Dimension Tidying things into the 4th Angel and to Earth to kill him with the explosion. That's a great defensive strategy. Obviously, don't really have to talk too much about the 4th Angel. He's cracked, right? Biollante, we're playing a London here, so Biollante comes in handy. Even on Tokyo, I'm still using Biollante in this deck. You could probably swap it out for maybe something else if you wanted. Gigan 04 probably be a really good option. Just one, energy more expensive, but still pretty decent. I'm really liking her, though. I have her at level 26. She's one of my highest level 4 stars, so I'm just bringing her everywhere. She's great. Kumo Augment, even with the new nerf to him, his damage is lower, and his attack speed was increased to 4 seconds. Between him and Mothra 2019, you are basically locking up units. Just straight locking them down. It is really, really tough for one unit to break out of the both of them. So you see how, like, Goji 21, really good play, had to play his Gigan into my Kumo Augment to end the stun lock on his Leo. That is a good play. That was a good job. That's kind of what players are going to have to do. This deck pretty much has a bunch of high value pieces that when you see them, your enemy has to make a decision. Earth is on the field. Okay, do I deal with this Earth right now, or do I wait for what comes next? And then Kumo drops, the 4th Angel drops, maybe in different spots. Like, okay, now I have to dedicate resources. Do I want to just fight this Earth and see if I can take him down and push that side? Or do I want to try to push all these other units, right? You got to make a decision, because this 4th Angel, when he explodes, is just going to do a ton of damage. Earth is just putting out a ton of damage, has a ton of health, super hard to take down. Biollante on London and New York is dealing a ton of damage. Kumo Augment is going to make it really hard for your enemies to keep up in the DPS race, right? And then Mothra is going to make, one unit super slow, also hits outside of leader range, right? So what is it? Earth doesn't hit outside of leader range, does he? I think in this video he actually does. He's hitting outside of, I can't tell if he's hitting outside of the G89's range because the G89 is stunned or whatever, but he's hitting, actually no, I think that G89 actually just gets stun locked. I don't know how I did that. That's kind of crazy, but Earth I don't think normally hits outside of leader range, but Kumo Augment and Mothra definitely do, and them on your leader is tough to break, especially if you're not really paying attention. They do a tiny bit of damage, but it adds up. It adds up over time. Now, the thing with this deck that I think makes you the most vulnerable, I've only lost with this deck 3 times. Two of those times was against Absolute Zero Cannons by Kiryu users. They just stall your deck out and they'll hit you with the Absolute Zero Cannon trains. If you don't have the Psychic Course in this variation of the deck, not much that you're going to be able to do about that. You can put Fire Rodan in here as well, try to heal up. I don't know if that'll work. But without Psychic Course, Cure users just try to stall you out and do that, and then that's it. And then I was beat once by a Rush deck. I put Earth on the right, and then on the left, they sent Mogera, King Caesar, and an Ultraman at me while I was charging up everything else, and I just had poor hand state. You know, I had Bylante Pre-Evolution, Mothra, Dimension Tide, and Kumo, so I didn't have, like, a really good hand to defend myself after dropping Earth, and then they got me, so that is what it is. Either way, this deck is exceptionally good at making sure your opponent has to decide what they need to go up and fight against. You are playing, what I like to say, like a very defensive offensive deck, where yes, Earth is pretty, like, offense heavy, right? He is like a monster, and everything you do is in the defense of Earth. You're not really playing a lot of defense on your leader. You're playing around and defending the Earth. So your opponent is going to end up almost strictly playing defensively, because once they start playing in a very reactionary way and offensively, they are going to start losing, right? You can see here on the right side of the screen, they left the Earth up. Earth is now in the midfield. I was hit by, a Mega Gears and a Gigan. I was able to use my Bylante basic form in the water and Kamacuras to just react super quickly and take those things down, but that's pretty much the only defense I have, right? That's the most reliable defense, is the Kamacuras that I have. But now I got Kumo on the field. I got Mothra in the field. My Earth is going to take down that fourth Angel on the right side, right? And you see over here in the middle game with Goji 21, you know, he's trying to take down the Earth, and then he's putting the Angel on the other side, and what he ended up doing is playing a little bit reactionary. He's trying to, okay, I'm not going to take down that Earth. Let me see if I can get some characters up on the other side. As soon as you start dividing your resources between this deck, because this deck has a lot of big targets for your opponent to choose from, they'll start losing because they need to just acclimate all of their... And I know I'm telling you guys the secret formula, right, to beat it, but if you're going to use it, you're going to know how it's going to lose. Your opponent needs to just commit to either one side completely or fight your push in total. They cannot really afford with this deck to spread their resources too thin, because as soon as you give this deck an inch, it will take a mile. And I'm having great success with it, and I hope that you guys too. I know my levels are a bit intimidating with I have 2 level 40s on this team, and I got a level 26, and I got a level 20. I got some pretty decent levels, but I promise you that even without the levels that I have, this deck will still run very well. Earth decks are very good, and they are down to a science, and I do believe that even if you have lower levels than me, this deck will still work for you. This is not like the comics deck, where I think maybe levels come into play a little bit heavier with that than most others, even though I still think that is a very viable deck. This, I think, even if you have lower levels, just with the nature of the abilities that this deck carries, I think you will have a successful time running it. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching me rant and tripping over my words in the final few seconds of the video, but I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye-bye.